You ever feel like you're stuck on a loop, like you're living the same year over and over again? Especially when it comes to things like your finances or your relationships or even your career. You try so hard to change things, but somehow you end up right back where you started. Well, it turns out there's a really deep reason for that, a kind of hidden mechanic that most of us just don't see. And once you understand it, well, that's when you can finally break the cycle for good.
And it starts with this number, which is pretty wild. According to the source material, a massive 98% of people stay trapped in the exact same life cycles. 98%. Think about that. They want to change, they really try to change, but they just can't seem to break free. Now, this isn't because they lack willpower, not at all. It's because they don't understand the rules of the game they're playing.
And this quote right here, it just nails the whole problem. This is the trap. We try to change our actions. We start the new diet, we make the budget, we swear off certain types of people. We try to do everything differently, but we're still the same person on the inside. We haven't changed our core identity. And that's why nothing really changes on the outside.
So if we really want to break the cycle, we have to look under the hood. We have to understand the hidden engine that's actually running the show. See, there's a sequence, a step-by-step process that creates our reality, and almost all of us are only focused on the very last step.
And here it is. The source calls it the multi-dimensional sequence. It all starts with your frequency. That frequency then tunes your intuition. That intuition gives you these little mental nudges, which then inspire you to take action. And that action, finally, creates your reality. But do you see the bombshell here? Action, the one thing we all obsess over, is step 4. We're trying to win the race at the finish line, but the winner was already decided way back at step 1. It all comes down to frequency.
So what on earth is this frequency? Well, think of it like your personal operating system. It's your core state of being. It's your self-concept, who you fundamentally believe you are, and just your general mental attitude about life. It is the source code. It's the first domino that knocks down all the others. Everything, and I mean everything, flows from this.
And this, right here, shows the huge mindset shift we need to make. On the left, you have the trap. That's where 98% of people live. They try to change their actions first. They try to do different things, but they are still being the same person. On the right, you have the key. You change your frequency first. You decide to be a different person. And when you do that, you start working with the natural flow of reality, not against it. And that's what leads to a completely new life.
So how does this frequency actually keep us so locked in? Well, it creates this perfect self-reinforcing loop. Let's make this super clear with a real-world example. The source uses a really simple, powerful example that I think we can all relate to. Someone who desperately wants to get fit, but just seems stuck in a cycle of being unhealthy. Okay, so follow the logic here. Their core frequency, their deep down belief is, I am an unfit person. Because that's the signal they're broadcasting, their intuition can only pick up channels that match it. So it starts sending these mental nudges like, you're too tired for the gym, or, that cake would make you feel better. Those nudges lead to the action of skipping the workout and eating the junk food. And what's the reality? Well, they remain unfit, which just proves their original belief, their original frequency was right all along. And the cycle starts all over again. It's a perfect trap. I love this quote because it just says it all, doesn't it? Trying to force a new action, like dragging yourself to the gym, while you're still holding on to that old key, that old frequency of, I'm an unfit person, it's just not going to work. The door to a new reality demands a new key. You have to become a new person first.
But what is it that holds that old frequency in place so tightly? I mean, why is it so hard to just change it? It's more than just a bad habit. The source points to something much deeper. Unresolved emotional charges from our past. This is the superglue holding that whole cycle together.
We always hear that the way to program your subconscious is through repetition, right? Do your affirmations a million times. And yeah, that can work, but it's the slow, painful way. The subconscious has a fast-track language, a direct line, and that language is intense emotion. A single, powerful emotional experience can get hardwired into your subconscious instantly, no repetition needed. And when we hear the word trauma, our minds usually jump to something really big and dramatic. But the source here gives us a much more useful definition. Any past experience, or even just something you saw that had a strong negative emotional charge attached to it. When you think about it that way, you realize we've all had experiences like this that are quietly running our programming.
And here's the kicker. Those old, intense emotions don't just fade away. They get stored in you.
And they act like a little subconscious radio beacon, constantly broadcasting the frequency of that old painful event. Your subconscious mind doesn't know about past and future. For it, that moment is still happening right now, and it's keeping you perfectly tuned to the very frequency you're trying so desperately to escape.
Okay, so we get it. We've been focusing on the wrong thing, and these old emotions have us locked in place. So what do we do about it? How do we actually fix this? Well, the source lays out a really clear two-part strategy to dissolve that old cycle and step into a new one.
It's basically a 1-2 punch. First, you've got to dissolve that emotional glue that's holding the old cycle in place. You have to neutralize the charge. And second, at the same time, you start consciously and deliberately embodying the frequency of the new reality you actually want.
Now, this process is incredibly powerful. First, you just identify that core memory, that one really emotionally charged negative moment that's connected to the cycle you're in. Maybe it was a moment of deep embarrassment or failure. Then you get into a relaxed meditative state, and you go back to that memory. But, and this is the whole key, you don't just relive it. You become the director of the movie. You rewrite the scene. You change the ending in your imagination until it feels positive and empowering. You're literally overwriting the old emotional code.
This is such a critical idea to grasp. You're not trying to fight or destroy your old reality. You can't. That just gives it more energy. Energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred. So the goal is to stop feeding the old cycle your attention and your energy, and instead start resonating with a new one. You're not breaking out of prison. You're just changing the channel.
Now, the universe itself has these two default settings that kind of work to keep you where you are. First, it will magnify whatever your base emotional state is. So if you feel frustrated all the time, it'll just send you more stuff to be frustrated about. Second, it will try to maintain that frequency. It likes things to be stable and predictable, what the source calls an energetic equilibrium. It'll work to keep you right where it's used to you being.
So the only way to change the game is to consciously give the universe a new signal to work with. You have to be the one to break the pattern. You have to choose to feel the emotions of the future you want right now, before there's any evidence for it. You have to feel worthy, feel abundant, feel loved first. That gives the universe a brand new frequency to magnify and a whole new equilibrium to maintain.
And this really brings it all home. Once you truly understand how this works, that your internal frequency is creating your external reality, and that you have the power to change that frequency, the whole game shifts. You realize you're not a victim, you're not helpless, you're not actually stuck in a cycle. You're just stuck in a decision, the decision to keep feeling and being the same person you've always been. And so, just like that, all the power comes back to you. The old frequency or the new one. The old story or a new one. You are the one sitting at the control panel. So the only question left, really, is what will you decide?